A lesson on non-objective art with Mary Bozelli. Before designing the project, there was a careful look at the standards for 8th grade art. As you can see in the standards here, an important concept was Standard 3, Invent and Discover to Create. My students will be doing this by looking at expressive features of art and using this in their own representations of non-objective art. Before creating their own works of art, it was important that students understand what non-objective art is and its origins. In order to fulfill technology standards, a PowerPoint would be given at the beginning of the class to explain important artists that contributed to the non-objective art movement. The first slide is one from Mondrian. We will also look at Joseph Albert's Homage to the Square. Another influential artist to the non-objective art movement was Kandinsky, as you can see in these two slides. Throughout the presentation, it is important to evaluate the students on how well they understand non-objective art in order for them to portray this in their own works. It is important for students to know that non-objective art does not represent something in nature and is more about lines, shape, form, and color. Once I am sure that the students fully understand non-objective art, they'll be ready for the project's assignment. Before class, it is important that I have prepared some viewfinders, which are 1-inch holes cut into index cards with a special hole puncher, seen here. The students will then use these viewfinders or windows to flip through magazines and look for certain images that do not represent an object in particular. Some examples will be shown later in the lesson. After finding a work that will be used as non-objective art, the students will cut out this image from the magazine and glue it to the back of their viewfinder. It is also important to make sure there are enough oil pastels to be used for the entire class, as well as plenty of pencils and plenty of blank paper, because these will be used in following lessons. Students should also be discouraged from using monochromatic works, which is one color in a variety of shades. This is simply too easy for these students. They need to be challenged a little bit more. The students will be using these viewfinders for the rest of the project. Here are some examples of the final project. The students will use the small viewfinders and enlarge these to make a bigger piece. Students will then shade the areas using oil pastels in order to blend and show variation of color.